we're really pleased to have everyone with us today. We have, I think that on the Eventbrite, we booked this session for a full hour. I don't think we'll need that. I'm hoping that we're able to run through everything in the next 30 minutes. This session will be recorded and will be posted later for perhaps to be able to share with colleagues, or if you want to rewatch parts of it. We're, of course, we're grateful for your time today. I want to be respectful of it. We also want to note that feel free to keep your cameras off, turn them on if you like, and set your settings to mute. Please feel free to use the chat function throughout the presentation, and we'll be answering questions, to the group. We are, there's other members, I think, of the DMS team with us today, but I am, pleased to have everyone here. I will start the presentation. Just bear with me 1 second. Great. So what we'll cover off today in this webinar, we'll talk about who is Digital Main Street. We'll talk about the Future Proof program, and in specific, the lab pillar within the program. We'll talk about eligibility for the DMS lab program, talk about partnerships, and we'll do a little bit of a Q&A. To take a step back, Digital Main Street we're a nonprofit organization that helps Main Street businesses achieve digital transformation. I think I'm personally really fascinated by the Digital Main Street story. Here is this organization that was founded, 4 or 5 years ago, with the, really explicit focus on Main Street businesses and in helping them to tackle many of the challenges presented by the digital age, and launched in Toronto, with a, reasonable budget, but really focused here, and, grew relatively slowly over the next few years. But really, Digital Main Street stepped up in, of course, in the face of the current COVID crisis, to be able to assist Main Street businesses to be able to address many of the challenges that had been accelerating, due to, online competition, competition from big box stores, a whole variety of factors that COVID helped to accelerate, and then also brand new problems that COVID has exposed. And so, we are really focused on, really helping Main Street businesses to tackle some of these challenges. And we'll talk a little bit more about those in a moment. Our programs, I sometimes like to think about this as, the entry level program, the 100 college level program, the 200 college level program, and the 300. But kind of how many businesses interface with Digital Main Street is through our Shop Here Powered by Google program. And that's really focused on building online stores for, mom and pop shops, right across the country. The next level up is the Ontario Grants program, which thanks to some generous support, we're able to offer a $2,500 grant to assist Main Street businesses with digital transformation. And then there's the Future Proof program, which I'll, in partnership with Communitech and Invest Ottawa, and a number of other regional innovation centers right across the province, which we'll talk about in greater detail. The Future Proof program, there's 3 pillars to that. Our transformation teams, which we assist through enabling a team of 5 or 6 very talented professionals. We pair them with a Main Street business to help adapt to changes in their respective sector. The Community Collaboration Program, which is in partnership with our Regional Innovation Center partners across the province, really focusing on a grassroots level of engagement to assist local communities to tackle thematic challenges. And in the Community Collaboration Program, the kinds of pilots that are going to be greenlit, could be low tech, could be high tech, but they are the Community Collaboration Program is happening right across the province. And then there's the Digital Main Street Lab, and that's what we're here to talk about today. This is really zeroing in on building partnerships between our technology partners and local startups and the variety of business improvement areas, nonprofit sector partners, chambers of commerce, et cetera, to be able to pilot solutions to challenges that local Main Street businesses are facing. The DMS lab, we're again really focused on collaborations, as I said, between tech companies and our Main Street business partners, so business improvement areas and chambers, as I said. We're really seeking to provide immediate and lasting improvements to neighborhood businesses. We're trying to target solutions that Main Street businesses are facing across the province, and really, what we're really focused on there is scalability. We're looking to tackle problems through this program that ultimately, can be piloted in one community and then can be, expanded to other communities. That means that, there might be a rural community in Ontario that has identified a specific problem, say around tourism, and, that's something that they're really trying to solve that may wind up being a great solution to scale to other communities. Through this program, we are available, we're able to provide project support to up to $25,000. And of course, only successful applicants will receive funding. When we're talking about the challenges that are facing, I think, Main Street businesses across Ontario, they are significant and in many ways are growing. I think as our friends at the Canadian Federation of Independent Business have noted, 1 in 7 small businesses in Canada are currently at risk of closing permanently, and that's not even including businesses that have already closed. And of course, as many folks, whether in the restaurant sector or in many other sectors are recognizing, Canadian winter is going to pose a specific and unique challenge, I think, to some of the success that many businesses have experienced through the summer months. We're going to go through a number of challenges, and I really encourage our tech sector partners to be thinking through how their specific value proposition really lines up with some of these challenges. So challenge number 1, and these are in no particular order. There's a whole variety of them, but restrictions. The fact that many businesses are primarily based on in-person interaction. Restaurants, salons, theaters, so on, which COVID-19 restrictions have made more challenging. When we're thinking about solutions to this problem, solutions, there's low tech and there's high tech solutions. And this is something I think that's worthwhile to consider. A low tech, solution may mean more outdoor space. This was one that many restaurants enjoyed, throughout the summer months, additional outdoor patio seating spaces. But there also are high-tech solutions to this as well. So, new approaches to contact tracing, for instance, which are really interesting. And there's a whole variety of them. Fewer patrons, the loss of foot traffic, really, due to the lockdown. We, of course, in Ontario, we've come out of the most severe phases of our lockdown, and of course, many are enjoying life in stage 3, and the future's unknown. We don't know if we're going to move back to stage 2 or stage 1 and greater lockdown, but it's something to keep in mind as we think through how we continue to attract people to Main Streets. And so, some communities are tackling this through new attractions, which, may be low tech, a festival. They could be high tech as well. So, an augmented reality, demonstration. There's other solutions that are attracting people to Main Streets. You might be considering, couponing, or, how do we do a new approach to incentivizing people to come back? And that's something that's really worthy of consideration. There's also changing needs. I'm sitting, talking to you from my basement at home, and as many of us have recognized, we have a reduced need perhaps for dress pants, and this is something that is a real challenge for some of our business partners, and there's a whole variety of products and services that you know, needs potential solutions to be able to continue to grow market share and even just to sustain business. And so, you know, ways to expand online presence, being able to you know, add some online fee for services. These are some interesting things that some businesses are approaching the challenge with. A lack of tech experience. You know, this is very real, and you know, a lack of, you know, a robust online presence or online store. And so there's all kinds of solutions to this. You know, we of course at Digital Main Street offer a few of those solutions through the Shop Here program and through the Digital Service Squad and transformation teams as well. But there are of course other approaches and that are really, I think, worthwhile to think through. Inaccessible aid, you know, there may be for a restaurant a great third party, you know, application to be able to support home delivery, but fees may be too high. And so, you know, one of the things we're certainly interested in looking at is, you know, applications that offer local Main Street businesses, you know, reduced fees to be able to support, you know, them maintaining their business through home delivery. Um, and, you know, new costs. This is another challenge that Main Street businesses have articulated around, you know, the high costs associated with, you know, personal protective equipment and takeout materials, sanitizer, etc. So there's some interest there. Who's eligible for the Future Proof program? We are looking to help build and support partnerships that include the following. One, you know, that there should be a business improvement area, a small business enterprise center, a chamber, municipality, or regional innovation center as a partner. You know, we're really hoping that, you know, through the collaboration, you've identified, you know, an end user collaborator. So this is a little different. You know, it may be that you have a municipal partner, but you have a local end user site, you know, that they have in mind to launch the pilot. You know, the pilots really, as I said earlier, must be scalable and applicable to other businesses and events and Main Street communities. And, you know, number 4, this is what we're here for fundamentally is, you know, we're really looking for solutions that help enable economic vitality of Main Street. I think this is the unique opportunity, and I know, you know, I formerly was in the technology sector and recognized that this is a moment where I think many of us want to help and want to be part of the solution. And I think the DMS Future Proof program is going to enable more of those collaborations in linking tech companies with BIAs and other partners. We've got some restrictions in terms of our federal funding agreements, which require us to issue funds to nonprofit community partners. So hence the BIAs or chambers, et cetera, which is why we are requiring you know, an existing relationship to apply for funding. Of course, that partnership works in that, you know, a tech company works with the BIA and, you know, the BIA can pay the tech company, you know, for a licensing fee, you know, et cetera. But, you know, we're looking for innovative projects that are, you know, really ready to launch in a specific community. And, you know, I think the next point is important to underscore, and it's, we don't necessarily need to target a COVID-19 problem, but we do need to target a challenge that, you know, COVID has perhaps helped to accelerate. And then finally, scalability. You know, it's a core requirement of the program. We are looking for solutions, as I've said many times already, solutions that are scalable. There's a lot of benefits, I think, to the multiple partners that, you know, are eligible to join us through the program, and, you know, for tech companies, you know, they're multiple. You know, revenue generation, the opportunity to test out a new or potentially existing product offering with a Main Street sector partner. You know, legitimizing your platform further with, you know, the social proof of a new partnership, and then the, you know, the goodwill or good news story, you know, really for your brand. I know we have some BIA partners on the call as well, and, you know, there's a lot of really, I think, important benefits for our business improvement area partners as well as, you know, chambers and municipalities, which include local revenue generation, similar opportunity to test out, you know, a new or existing product, you know, little risk and little to no cost to you, and, you know, continuing to demonstrate and reinforce action to your membership, and again, a good news story. As we launched the Future Proof program now 3 weeks ago, and that was at we were joined by Mayor Tory, who launched it as a part of his daily COVID update. And with it was the first partnership that was launched through the lab program. And that was a partnership between Hubba and Primrose with West Queen West and Beach Village BIA. And, you know, this is a really interesting one that we want to make mention of in that what the solution helps, you know, what Hubba really helps to do is take storefronts, you know, businesses along main streets that typically don't have a really strong retail product offering, perhaps, you know, it could be a yoga studio or another type of business, and to install a kiosk. You know, it could be thought of like a vending machine, but with, you know, really important data-driven decisions on types of goods that you know, the clientele will you know, be attracted to. And there's a profit sharing agreement between the local business and with Hubba. And the ultimate goal is to then fill a vacant storefront with a Primrose Market, which would include those goods that are, of course, sitting at those individual businesses, those retail storefronts, but also so to act as somewhat of a distributor for those organizations, and also be a resource and a place where community members can drop in to also get additional goods. Excuse me. You know, examples of potential pilots, there's so many of them, but there's several that are, you know, listed here. You know, traffic mapping, you know, contact tracing, community apps. This has been a really interesting one that we've seen where folks want to really digitize, you know, a map of local attractions, but in a new kind of way. A digital marketplace, interactive, you know, AR displays, and so on. We've seen some applications that have come in already, and it's really, I think, a testament to the wider technology and business community, the level of creativity and innovation that we're seeing. I want to pause here. Cecile, I just want to go to you and you know, welcome any questions or comments that have come in so far, and yeah, take a second.
Yeah, for sure. So far, hello everyone, first of all. Thanks for joining us today. Yeah, so far there's a lot of love for DMS in the chat box, which is very nice to see. Thank you. And really just the one question that's come in so far is from Julian Griffin asking if the DMS lab will be funding high-tech solutions as well as low-tech solutions.
Yeah, thanks for that. The lab solution in particular, where we're focused here, is on technology solutions. We are exploring and piloting lower tech solutions. So for instance, perhaps funding for a community festival as an example through our community collaboration program, and happy to provide more information on that offline. But yeah, in particular, the lab program is really zeroing in on the technology side. I'll move forward. In terms of our, you know, for our technology partners who are, you know, very interested in developing partnerships, we can, there's a couple, you know, things I'll just wanted to point you towards as resources. You know, the list of BIAs is in Toronto as well as across Ontario through the Toronto Business Improvement Area Office. You can find out more. And, you know, for province-wide, our partners at OBIA, which you can again learn more about. But you know, as a part of our applications are now open, and I'll talk about more about how to apply in a second. But you know, in terms of how you're thinking about, you know, potential partnerships, some things we've seen so far are, oh, what happened there? I guess lost the presentation mode. Some things to think about are, you know, potentially reaching out to, you know, businesses that you may already have a connection with that are Main Street businesses, or, you know, if there's a specific district that you're hoping to work within, you know, I think that's an interesting way to approach it. And, you know, one thing I will say is that the lab program is province-wide. And so we are working to greenlight you know, a large number of projects right across the province. In the end, it'll be over, I believe it'll be over 30 projects, pilots that we'll be initiating. And so, there's some for Toronto. Our friends at Communitech are overseeing, the work in Southwestern Ontario. Our colleagues and friends at Invest Ottawa are overseeing the Ottawa region, and in partnership with the local RIC as well there. And in the north, NORCAT is overseeing the part of the Future Proof program. And so, we are going to have, of course, a lot of folks who are based in Toronto and thinking about, Toronto streets, West Queen West, wanting to pilot Bloor West Village and so on. But I'd really encourage a broader view because we, in the end, are only going to be able to pilot a very small number for the city of Toronto. It'll be 2, 3, 4, and there'll be a number of others for wider. But that's something to think about. Partnerships as well, thinking about, regional innovation centers. There are a total of 17 of them across the province. And, there's the ability to partner with a RIC. You may already have a deep relationship with your local RIC. And that's certainly an avenue for partnership as well. But it is still really important to remember that you do need to think through the pilot location for that partnership. In terms of how to apply, it's really straightforward. We have the DMS Lab portal where, big yellow button, apply now. And we are encouraging folks to apply again with a, business improvement area or chamber partner, already in mind. Props to companies that have already put in applications. We are accepting applications on a rolling basis up until the end of October. And, this is something that, if you're not sure where to start in terms of, who to reach out to, at a business improvement area or otherwise, it's something that we can certainly assist with. On the business improvement area side or on the association side, we are providing. We've got a form that's under development that is something that you'll see more of in the future, where you can kind of stand up, raise your hand and say, yeah, I'm interested. Please, provide me with potential solutions that address one of those 6 problems that we went through in this presentation. But yeah, I'll once again pause there and open the floor for potential questions and hand it over to my colleague Cecile.
Sure. So another question from Jillian, which is sort of quickly answered in the chat, is it a requirement to have a tech company as a partner? Yeah, and sort of my reply to that was just the tech company will be the person putting forth the application. So the tech company will need to build partnerships with the community leader, the community, your BIA, your SPEC, municipality. But yes, a tech company does need to be involved. Is that fair, Jared?
Yeah, I guess I did not mute myself. Yeah, that is part of the way we've structured it. Just to clarify, though, the tech companies don't need to be the ones that do apply. It could be the BIA that does apply with the tech company partner. But in many cases, it is the technology company that's applying.
Great. And then there's another question: partnership support with local university-based startups, i.e., Ryerson.
Yeah. I think that's entirely, startups are going to come from a variety of sectors and, a variety of places across the province. And so it's, we'd encourage you to think broadly about who that might be. And, that sounds really interesting.
Great. If we are tech oriented and would like to gather a team to work on piloting a program in partnership with a community association, is that possible?
Yeah, I think, again, we are in a position right now where we are looking for projects that, of course, our nonprofit funders are helping to bring forward and that are addressing specific community needs. And so, if there's a solution that, you're really interested in working upon and building a collaboration with, a nonprofit partner like a business improvement area or another community association, I think that's certainly worthy of consideration and could be really, really exciting.
Great. I've got a couple more questions. Where can I get more information about community collaboration projects?
Yeah, good question. On the Digital Main Street webpage, under the Available Programs tab, there is the Future Proof program there, and there is a section on the Community Collaboration program where you can learn a little bit more. Yeah, some really exciting stuff happening again in that pillar of the Future Proof program. So yeah, I encourage you to check that out as well.
Great. Can you speak a little bit more about how funding flows from Digital Main Street to the BIAs and then to the applicants?
Yeah, we of course for the Future Proof program and for DMS Lab, we grade applications with a standardized grading rubric that all of our RIC partners are using across the province, and then based off of that successful partnerships that are brought forward, ultimately we'll work out we'll ultimately sign, a tripartite agreement between, at least one BIA, one tech company, and DMS, or Communitech or Invest Ottawa, and the with respect to the specific funding, that'll be something that, the funding will ultimately flow to the nonprofit partner to support the project. And then, there may be, licensing fees or, other costs that are billed, from the technology company to the nonprofit partner.
Great. Best person to reach out for additional questions. I just put my email in the chat box there, but if you have questions, I would urge everyone to try and ask them now, because I suspect you probably you're not the only one with those questions. And so definitely feel free to reach out to me if there's anything that is unturned, but we would love to try to get as much answered as possible today. Just because, yeah, I suspect you're not alone. And then moving on, can a not-profit that is not a BIA but does have in-house web development expertise be the nonprofit partner and the tech partner?
That's really interesting. I don't have an answer for that, actually. That's a really interesting question. Let me, if you drop your email there, that's something I think we can get back to you on. But that's certainly an interesting one.
Do you have to be a registered tech company to apply?
We do have a requirement that you're an incorporated business, and that ultimately, is the minimum grade. You need to be an incorporated business in Canada. So.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess that sort of answers the next question, but should the tech partner be incorporated in Ontario?
There's not a requirement for that. We do need you to be a incorporated within Canada, but it's not a specific requirement that it needs to be in Ontario.
But I would say, to add to that, your partnership should be Canadian. We will have to pilot projects that happen in Ontario. So at least your end user partner would have to be based in Ontario.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for building on that, Cecile.
Fair to add. Okay.
Yep.
Yes, I have recorded this, and I'll send it out to everyone afterwards for those that were unable to get here for the beginning. Is the program available brand new online only businesses?
I'm taking that to mean, is this targeting, I guess I'm not sure if that's necessarily on the tech company side, or if that's specifically targeting new businesses, within the pilot. And what I'll just say is that, there's a host of challenges that Main Street businesses are facing, and that we do not have a specific requirement that, that the end user group, that, the target need to be specifically an online business. It very much encourage all different types of businesses that we'd be piloting solutions that would have bearing on. I'm not sure if I've really answered your question, though.
Yeah, Neela, can you speak to if that was what your question was? Is it like the tech company needs to be online, or? Sure. I would add that it is a core requirement of the project that the solution is to ensure the economic viability of Main Street small businesses. So if your solution is only going to help online businesses, you may need to find a way to also ensure that Main Street businesses are receiving some aid with your solution. So would the following example then qualify for the program? A municipality partnering with a web developer to create an online marketplace for local businesses.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. Yeah.
I would say that qualifies.
Mm-hmm.
Does DMS Lab offer support with establishing relationships with local BIAs other than funding? And what support does the program provide?
Yeah, we certainly can help assist you with, thinking through who it is, when you're thinking about, potential partners, when you're thinking about potential end users, it's something that we were able to assist with. What I'd really encourage though, in terms of, next step forward for you is to think through the specific types of businesses that you think your solution might assist with, and thinking about areas in, across Ontario where there's a relatively high degree of need. And that could be main streets that, have that specific type of business, in a greater concentration, or, it may be an area where you think that you may be able to assist in some interesting ways. So that would be, I'd really encourage that as a first step. That'll be the first step you'll hear from us. If you get in touch and just say, I need help finding a BIA, we'll immediately respond saying, have you taken a look at, the list of the variety of organizations across the province? But we're happy to, have a call and talk through that more on an individual basis.
If I can just jump in and clarify, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just asked that question. So BIAs have the resources that they have available to them varies. So some of them have dedicated staff while others don't. So it's very hard to reach someone that actually, responds that you can have a connect with. So, is there perhaps like a list or because you guys are on the other end of it, you know which BIAs are most active and engaged. Perhaps you can give us, some suggestions on the BIAs that are potential, have high potential for as early adopters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly, and happy to have more of those conversations, offline. We don't have a specific list, of organizations that have stepped up and said we want in. That is something that is in process right now, but that'll be a resource that we're able to, as I mentioned, we are continuing to encourage, our business improvement area partners and other nonprofit associations, to be able to volunteer, that they're interested. And with that, in hand, in the coming days and weeks, we'll be able to come back with more suggestions of potential partners to work on. So more to come on that.
How do we define Main Street businesses?
Good question. Of course, there's the obvious, which is, Main Street storefronts, on a specific Main Street. But there may be other businesses that are, on the second level of a Main Street, store that could be, within the vicinity, a street or two over. They may not have a business improvement area that is active, in their community. And that's, I think, why we have tried to be broad in terms of who our nonprofit partners can be. But I think there is a, ultimately we're thinking about storefronts, and we're thinking about, businesses that, are deep and reside within a community. There's probably that probably comes off as a little bit fuzzy, but it's we recognize that there are many different types of businesses that support our communities, and so want to be generous with how we interpret that definition.
Great. So we started an online marketplace, but it's stalled. Can we apply for a grant to help us get it working as was envisioned?
Yeah, potentially. I think that's really interesting, and that may be an area where the program might be able to assist.
But I still think you would have to have your end user partnership with that and know exactly who will be signing up for the online marketplace.
Yeah.
Is that fair to add?
Yep, I think that makes sense.
Great. I'm not quite sure. Okay. Bancroft is excited. Awesome. That is so far all the questions that we have, asking from the perspective of a partnership with tech solution providers to small businesses looking to expand quickly to the online platform as brick and mortar distribution is not bouncing back. That was sort of an expansion of the question that we asked for some clarity on.
Yeah, I think that there's as I mentioned kind of at the start, there's a variety of platforms and services that are available within the Digital Main Street ecosystem. This may be one that fits within the DMS Lab program, but it also may be one that fits within another program, potentially within the transformation teams or whatnot. But I would certainly encourage reaching out to Cecile, and to our team so we can discuss it further.
I'll put my email on one more time. Oops, no, that was.
I'm seeing some of the chat questions here. Yeah, Jillian, I see your question. Thanks for that about that there's a short paragraph on the DMS page about community collaboration, and yeah, happy to chat a little bit further about with you on that, and connect you to the folks in your community who are currently working on the regional community collaboration. Though we're overseeing the Future Proof program, when it comes to community collaboration, Cecile and I and the team at the Toronto Association of BIAs are overseeing the Toronto program specifically. So if you're in Toronto, let's talk more. If not, we can connect you with folks in your community who are working on it. The deadline, I also see there's a question there, and deadline is for the Future Proof, for the Digital Main Street Lab for applications is October the 31st. And so, as I mentioned earlier, we're accepting applications on a rolling basis until then.
Great. And then just one more question to expand upon this question. A previous question would be, would the following example qualify for the program? A municipality partnering with a web developer to create an online marketplace for local businesses. Does the web developer need to be incorporated?
That's an interesting question. I believe that if they are a third-party organization or a third-party web developer, that they do need to be. We can double check on that for you and circle back. Again, I encourage a follow-up, with Cecile, and we can get that back for you.
Can a tech partner work with multiple BIAs?
Yeah, absolutely. We'd encourage that as well. As the example that we gave with Hubba, they're working with both West Queen West as well as with the Beaches BIA in Toronto. So yeah, multiple user groups is a really, I think, attractive part of the application and program process.
So each BIA would be one pilot?
They could form the basis of one particular pilot, or there could be multiple BIAs in one pilot. Any other questions, Cecile?
Nothing else has popped up just yet. Main streets could include theaters and entertainment venues. Many are not for profit that amid shutdown. Could this program support the development of a digital tool or platform or related research to support their sustainability?
Yeah, certainly. I think that's super interesting, and is something that I think you've struck on a challenge that theaters and entertainment venues right across the province are facing, and I think that could be a really interesting approach.
Mhm. And then just one further clarification, RICs and BIAs can be in different regions?
Potentially, yep. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think we'd want to explore that and think through the viability for. I should note that in the context of this program, we have of course an application deadline of October 31st. We are of course the winter months. I think of November as winter, but November, the fall, and into the winter, that'll be time for pilot implementation, and the goal is to have reports back from the success or failure of the project by the end of March, and so we are working on a compressed timeline, and so thinking through the size of the pilot in that context, needing to be mindful of potential timelines. I think that'll be something that we'd all want to be thoughtful about.
All right.
Karen, good to see you. Yeah, I see your note about Tech Alliance. Yep, and as a RIC, covers a significant area, and that's another resource that we're happy to share. But there are 17 RICs across the province, all having specific geographies, and so that could make a really interesting partnership as well. Tech Alliance as one example, and being able to target multiple communities within that area. This has been really great. I really appreciate everyone's time today. As Cecile mentioned, we have recorded this session and we will be posting it. We are happy to continue to answer questions, offline and outside of this session. We really believe this project has the capacity to be able to address some of the higher order challenges that COVID's presented to our Main Street communities, and firmly believe that the future of our Main Streets are going to require innovative solutions to the challenges that have been brought to bear. And so we really appreciate the expertise and the vision from a variety of sectors, and are hoping to think big with how we approach the challenges here. But I want to thank everybody for your time, and there'll be more to come. Cecile, any other closing words?
No, I just had a question about there's a new BIA coming for King West, and can we work with them? But I just asked to take that offline.
Cool. Sounds good. Thanks everybody for your time today.
Yeah, thank you very, very much.
Awesome. And yeah, look forward to chatting more individually with folks in the future.